Hey everyone, welcome to the Gates of Mordechai. I'm Mordechai. I wanted to thank all our sponsors. May you be blessed with money, love, and health and spirituality, all the physical and spiritual good stuff this world has to offer. And if anybody wants to sponsor, you know where to reach me. Wanted to go through what's called the Shema. The Shema is a commandment that the person has to do 4 times a day, and it corresponds to the 4 different parts of the day, and each given off its different energies. A day is split into 4 equal parts, starting at nighttime when the sun goes down and goes until midnight. That's where the dark forces come out. They continue until the morning, but at midnight the good forces start coming in, and they're ushered in at sunrise. At sunrise, it's all good until midday, and then from midday the evil forces start coming back out until the evening again. Corresponding to that, we have to say the Shema to push away these evil forces and draw down good energies and good light. The original time the Shema appears is when Yaakov asked his kids if they believe in the one God. And they said, Shema Yisrael, listen, Israel, which is our father, right? Yaakov was also called Israel. Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. The one God, that I'm going to try to explain what Adonai means. It's the one that was, is, and always will be, master of everything, is our God, and He is one. One means with no other parts, there's no other forces, it's the one force, the true force, meaning the infinite one, with no borders, the Ein Sof. Okay? And after that, he said, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Blessed be His, the name of His kingdom, forever and ever. Okay? Basically, one states that who we believe in, and the second line basically says that we are bringing His revelation into this world. Okay, so let's delve into it and see what we come up with, and we'll find out that many of the world's ideologies just fall by the wayside once you understand what you're actually saying. It says, "Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha." You're commanded to love God with all your hearts. What does that mean? You might think that you have one heart, but really the heart is divided into 2. On the right side is your good inclination, and on the left side is your evil inclination. Your Yetzer Tov and your Yetzer Hara. That's their names in Hebrew. And basically one inclines you to do well, and the other inclines you to do evil. And so you got to love God with both of these forces. The one that tells you to serve Him, obviously that's pretty easy. And the one that tells you to enjoy this physical world, you also got to do it within the parameters that the Torah prescribes. The second one is uvechol nafshecha, with all your soul. That means if someone comes and tries to kill you, or you were forced to give up your life in some other manner for God, then you have to do it. Since He's the one who gave it, you have to give it for Him in return. And then the last one is v'chol meodecha. V'chol meodecha is translated with all your possessions. So if you get money, you have to give a portion of that to charity. And with all your possessions that you have, your clothing, your house, you have different commandments around your house to put a mezuzah, to put up a railing. You have many things that you can serve God with your possessions. The other aspect of meodecha is bechol midah umidah shu moded lecha eva modelo. Whatever God gives you, you got to say thank you for. So that means no matter what happens in this world, you got to be thankful for it, whether good or whether bad. Okay, and in which case, this love for God encompasses one's entire being. So, if a person really takes this to heart, they don't have time for anything else, because they're thinking about this love with everything that ever happens to them. And so when your time is pretty much allocated to all this, you don't have time to worry about the trivialities of life, all the little things that don't go your way and you get upset about them. There really is no such thing as not going your way. Everything is designed for you to love God. The next verse says, "Vayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha." And these things that I command you today shall be on your heart. Meaning, you should think about this all the time. Like, you really should have no other time for anything else. Obviously, you need to take care of the necessities of life, but in terms of being bored and looking for other things to do, like, you shouldn't have any other, free time, quote unquote, free time that you don't know what to do with. Okay, you should be seeking out God and, finding a way to connect to Him, because that's all we're here on this earth for. That's our godly mission. And that's when we'll truly be happy. When a person fulfills what they were created for, that's when they'll be happy. This laptop is happy when it's doing laptop things, right? If I try to, use it for cooking or for, hammering a nail, yeah, I could technically do it, but I don't think the laptop is going to be pretty happy with me for doing that kind of, silly things. The next verse says, "V'shinantam levanecha," and you shall repeatedly teach them to your kids. Okay, so now you have a commandment to go to the next generation. So you'll raise kids that are in this line of thinking. "V'dibarta bam b'shiftecha bevetecha," and you will speak these words when you sit at home. "Uvelechtecha v'derech," and when you're walking on your way or going, traveling, and the like. "Uveshachvecha uvekumecha," and when you lay down to sleep and when you wake up. So really, this encompasses your whole life. You don't have time for anything else. If you're wise, you'll utilize your time the best way. Then we have another commandment in the next verse. It says, "Ukshartam leot al yadecha," and you will tie them as a sign onto your arms. That's the tefillin of the arm. "Vayu totafot ben einecha," and it will be as a sign on your head. Okay, we have two commandments when it comes to tefillin. One is to tie them on the arm, and the other is to place them on our heads. We usually just do that in the morning, but in reality, it should be all the time. In which case, we'd be perfect angels, and we wouldn't commit any sins, and God would love us and, just bestow blessings on us. But we decided to, take the hard route and not do that all day long. "Uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha," and you will write them onto your doorposts and the posts of your gates. Basically saying that wherever you enter in your home or in your places of business and that kind of stuff, you'll be reminded of this commandment to love God. Again, this is consuming every single aspect of your life. For those people who say, religious people are fanatical, or it's too much, and anybody who wanted to reform it in any kind of way, this basically dispels everything they say. And so you got to be fanatical. You got to be a fan of your team, a fan of God, right? Yeah, I'm a fan of God, just like I'm a fan of my favorite football team, basketball team, whatever it is, I'm also a fan of God, right? Next verse says, "Vaya im shemoa tishmeu el mitzvotai, asher anochi metzaveh etchem hayom," and if it will come to pass that you listen to the commandments that I command you today, le'ava et Adonai Elohechem, to love the Lord your God, ule'avdo bechol levavchem, and to serve Him with all your hearts, v'chol nafshechem, and all your soul. Okay, you do this properly, there's a consequence, and the consequence is in the next verse. "V'natati meta artzachem be'ito," and I will give the rains in its time. Yoreh u'malkush, the first rains and the last rains. There's a cycle within the year. Ve'asafta et ganecha v'tiroshecha ve'yitzarecha. And you will gather in your wheat, your grapes, and your olives. Okay, these are the basic sustenances that a person needs. So basically the consequence of serving God or loving God with all your heart and all your soul is that God will give rain. And this rain, obviously it's speaking about the land of Israel, which doesn't have any flowing body of water that can water all the fields. So it's pretty much reliant on rain the whole year. So God says that if you keep my commandments and you do it with all your heart and with your soul, and you love me, you will get this rain in its proper times, in the beginning and at the end. The next verse goes on to say, "V'natati esev b'sadecha levemetecha v'achalta v'savata," and I will give the grasses to your animals, and you will eat and you'll be satiated. Here we learn many things. Obviously, the rain is going to bring the sprouting of the grains and all the fruits and the grasses, but here it says levemetecha, to your animals, v'achalta v'savata, and then you will eat and be satiated. From here we learn something very basic in Judaism, and that is that our animals come first when it comes to feeding. We have to feed them before we eat ourselves. Okay, so anybody who says that any of our ritual things are cruelty against animals and that kind of thing, we were the people who taught the world to be nice to animals. That cruelty to animals is inhumane, so to speak. Okay, so that's in this verse. First, your animals shall eat, then it's incumbent on you to eat. Ishameru lachem pen yifte levavchem v'sartem v'avadetem Elohim acherim v'ishtachavitem lehem. Next verse says, be careful, keep for yourself, that your heart shouldn't be strayed. Because what strays a person? That's the left side of the heart that we spoke about earlier. And v'sartem, and you will start straying after it. And you will serve Elokim acherim, different idols or different powers in the world. V'ishtachavitem lehem, and you will bow down to them. Basically, you'll start believing in other ideologies or other things that you think are the true cause of your wealth and your health and all the things that happen in your life, whatever ideologies or idols or anything of the like. And then what will happen? V'chara af Adonai bachem v'atzar tashamayim v'lo yeh matar v'adama lo titen et yevula v'avadetem me'era me'al haaretz hatova asher Adonai noten lachem. And God's anger will be raised upon you, and he will stop the heavens, stop the skies, and there won't be rain on the ground, and the ground won't give its fruit, its labor, right? And you will have to leave the land from the good land that God gives to you. Okay, because what happens when there's a famine and there's no food growing? You have to go someplace else where there is money, right? Many people left Israel, came to America and the rest of the world in search of a better prosperity, right? And the like. And that's what happens. That's a result of serving other gods. And the true God is saying, hey, if you're going to attribute your wealth and health and everything that comes to you to other means, then I'll stop funding you. Okay, and anybody who has a business or is a good parent or anything like that knows that when the employees and the kids start straying after or working for other companies, so to speak, then the true company that they really work for doesn't want to support this endeavor. So same thing, we can't blame God for things not happening the way we like them to happen. There's a verse in the Torah that talks about, a person will change his ways, and he'll, meaning change them in a bad way, and he'll start acting negatively, and he'll blame God for all his problems, right? That's our true nature. Our true nature is to blame other people for the things that we cause ourselves. The next verse says, "V'samtem et devarei le'al levavchem ve'al nafshechem." And you should place these words onto your hearts and onto your souls, meaning like you should really take them in and understand them fully and live by them. Ukshartam le'ot al yadechem, and you will tie them as a sign onto your arms. Va'yilu tefillot beinechem, and they will be between your eyes. Right? Again, speaking about the tefillin, it's a constant reminder that should be on you at all times, except obviously at nighttime, we don't put them on. V'limadtem otam et bnechem ledaber bam. You will teach it to your kids to speak them. B'shivtecha bevetecha uvelechtecha v'derech uveshochbecha uvekumecha. And when you go to sleep and when you wake. Right? So basically you're teaching your kids that this is all they should be speaking about, right? They should be consumed with this. When you lay down, right? And when you wake, and when you're in your house, and when you're walking around, you're going to different places. This should be in your thought process at all times. Otherwise, you're going to be consumed with other things. And whatever we let into our mind, that's what's going to attribute to our thoughts and our feelings. And so when we only let in good stuff, then our thought that we're only going to feel good stuff. When we start being consumed with the world and letting in different powers, that's when we start getting upset, anxiety, fear, worry, all the negative depressions that happen and all that stuff. So again, this is what we need to be consumed with, and then God will take care of the rest. And you'll write it on your doorposts and your the gates. So wherever you go in and out, you'll be constantly reminded of this. In order that you will increase your days and the days of your kids on the land that God swore to your forefathers to give to them, just like the days of heaven on earth. Basically, we have a divine oath that God gave us, that the land of Israel is ours forever and ever. But we need to maintain it by keeping the commandments. And, so there's no dispute on where the land of Israel, to whom it really belongs. That is the Jewish people, because God gave it to us in order to serve Him in this perfect manner. Okay, so and that's essentially why the Torah begins with Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim v'haaretz. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, right? To tell you that He is the owner of everything. He's the true owner, and He gives it to whoever He wants. So if there's any territorial dispute, we just go back to who created the world and who does it really belong to, and who He says can occupy it. So that should dispel anything if we really want to follow the godly way of things. If we want to obviously follow the way things are done here on earth, then, you go through wars and, conquering and all and the like. We come to the last paragraph of the Shema. Vayomer Adonai Moshe lemor, and God commanded or said to Moshe to tell the people, Daber el bnei Yisrael ve'amarta alehem ve'asu lehem tzitzit על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתית תכלת. Speak to the children of Israel, which is the Jewish people. Remember, Israel is Yaakov, right? And we're his children. And you will say to them, and they shall make for them tzitzit. Tzitzit are the strings that we wear on our clothing, on our four cornered garments. We should put them on to the corners of our garments for all generations. And we shall have a blue string as one of them. There are supposed to be 4 strings on each corner, and each string is supposed to be white, except for one that's supposed to be a tchelet. Tchelet is the color of the sky, in order that we constantly be reminded who runs the world. והיה לכם לציצית וראיתם אותו. Right, and it shall be for you a tzitzit, and you shall see it. וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם. And you'll remember all the commandments of God, and you shall do them. ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם. And you will not be strayed after your hearts and your eyes, in which you become like a harlot after them. And this is a very, very crucial verse in the Torah. Okay, and it's basically saying that these tzitzit, you will look at them and you'll remember all the commandments. So obviously you need to have these tzitzit on you, and you need to know the commandments, because otherwise, what are you remembering? Right? So it's crucial that a person learns the commandments, memorizes them, knows how to keep them. Otherwise, these strings are not really going to help you. Except spiritually, we know that if a person has this garment on them, they do have a sort of force and light that comes onto them that helps them keep the commandments. But this is talking in a practical sense, that they'll help you remember that you have these commandments that you need to keep. And you will do them, you will keep these commandments, and you won't stray after your hearts. Remember, again, we said that the heart is split into 2. The left side is pushing towards what's evil and what God doesn't want. And after your eyes. Basically, the heart wants something. Usually the evil side wants evil, and then the eye sees it. And when the eye sees it, it brings it into the mind. The mind tells the heart, and then it conjures up all sorts of ways to get what it really wants, right? So if you want the right things, and you watch out not to open your eyes too much to the world, basically not looking at things you shouldn't look at, basically other people's properties, other people's things, other people's family, and so you'll stay on the straight and narrow, because your heart and your eyes are like harlots. What does a harlot do? She goes with all sorts of men, right? Or a cheating wife is also considered a harlot, right? Basically, you're going to cheat against God, because your heart and your eyes are 2 partners in crime that'll push you away from God and the right path. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. And in order that you remember and you shall do all the commandments. Again, for those people think that I can, the Torah is a bunch of tips. I can take what I want, to better my life, and what I don't want, and what's too difficult, I leave aside. No, you'll keep all the commandments. V'yitem kedushim le'elochem, and then you will be holy to your God. There is no holiness without keeping God's ways, because He made a delineation between what's holy and what's profane, what's good and what's bad. Right? He's the objective source. This is not like argument, right? We're not arguing what are the rules of the game and what's good and bad in the game. We're just saying that there is an objective owner and creator of the game and an objective judge. And so holy is going after His commandments, and unholy is obviously not doing them, right? אני אדוני אלוהיכם שהוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים. I am the Lord your God, who took you out of Egypt. Now this is very crucial, because the Jewish people were essentially slaves. They were slaves to humans. And we know that we would have never left Egypt if it wasn't for God. So basically we're slaves to humanity. And God says, hey, I'll take you out of Egypt. Okay, but there's a catch. In order to be for you a God. God basically telling us what to do and to serve Him. Ani Adonai Elohechem emet. I am the Lord your God, and this is truth. And basically, this is where it ends. And with this, we have that only God is truth. There is no other truth in the world. This is a very crucial point to finish off the video, is that, we're going to be bombarded at the end of the days with all sorts of ideologies, all sorts of gurus, people telling us how to live a better life, how to think better, how to feel better. All that is nonsense once a person goes to the source. Once they go to the source, the person who created us, who gave us a body, who gave us a soul, who gave us everything that we have, all our possessions and everything like that, then they don't have a need for anything else. They're satisfied. They don't have a need for vacations. They don't have a need for certain foods, for certain feelings. They're never bored. They're constantly consumed and constantly happy. And if you follow this path, it's a guaranteed way to be happy in this world and earn your place in the world to come. So I bless everybody. I hope this video helps everybody who's out there. And don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Have a good one.